Actually, do that. There we go. I should fix things a little bit. Now I'll shove this under there too. There we go. Now the table won't be flopping around and hard for me to read you guys. Every single time the movement shifts a little bit. I'm just a poor one, and my story seldom told. I have squandered my resistance for a pocket full of mongrels, such are promises. All lies and jest, still the man hears what he wants to hear, and disregards the rest. La 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 la. When I left my home and my family, was no more than a boy in the company of strangers, in the quiet of the railway station, running scared, laying low, searching for the poor quarters where the ragged people go, searching for the places only they would know. What's up, Andrew? Hello, hello, hello. Let me switch to all chat so I can see people as they come in. That'll make things work a little better. La la la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh. On the 5th day of Pride Month, my true love gave to me. Do 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 do. Are you a boy or a girl? Girl. Make sure you guys hit that like button as you cycle through the chat because it really does help elevate us to new heights. So did you guys hear about that the travel ban that's been announced on like 19 countries? Well, I heard one news story saying 12, and then I saw another news story saying 19, so I'm not really sure which one is true. The most recent update I read was 19. Who knows? But I really don't understand what this one is about. I mean, the Muslim ban had happened closer to 9/11, and that was kind of the justification that was used for it. But you know, it was almost, yeah, it was 10 years ago actually. I guess maybe 9 years ago, but still. So you know, as recently as 10 years ago, we were banning a bunch of, well, not we, but the Republican Party through President Trump was pushing this travel ban on a bunch of Muslim countries. But back then, it was more easily justified by things like 9/11 and some of the terrorist attacks and attempts that had happened since then, and the ongoing conflict with Afghanistan that was going on back then. It just seems really strange to me that a travel ban is now being announced again, because I can't really, I personally can conceive of a reason why any of the countries listed in it shouldn't be allowed to come into the United States. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. No one loves you? Tons of people love me. There are people who love me whose love for me doesn't even make any sense, but you know what? They're still there. Make sure you guys hit that like button, and if you've been sitting around for 5 minutes listening to me, you like the stream. So come on, hit the button. Vaping is bad for you. Thanks, Grandma. I would have never figured that out had it not been for your astute fucking observership. But yeah, does anyone have any idea why Trump is trying to ban all travel from countries like Haiti and like Papua New Guinea or some shit? I don't remember the whole list, but I remember reading it and being like, man, I can't even think of a fucking single immigrant from one of these. Like, one of them is Yemen. Like, when's the last time somebody from Yemen even fucking did something of note in the United States? It just really seems strange that we're excluding those people. But it's also when it comes to Yemen in particular, I wonder if that's not an anticipation of a further ramping up of tensions in that area. I wonder if Saudi Arabia is planning to step up the Yemeni genocide and get to a point where they can make like territorial incursions into the country, maybe. And maybe Trump is just trying to make sure that the many refugees that our allyship with that country is going to result in are not able to come here. I really can't imagine any other reason why Trump would be trying to exclude immigrants from Yemen. But then again, I can't figure out any reason why he would be trying to stop immigrants from Haiti. Other than, okay, is it because 6 months ago everybody was running around saying Haitians are eating dogs and cats and stupid bullshit like that? Because, like, I thought it was pretty well understood that that was a meme. I thought it was pretty well understood that that was not real. Let me make the chat a little more readable. There we go. Now we can read the chat. Now chat will be something worth participating in. By the way, there's 106 people in here. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help. You can just double tap the screen or the screen, not the scream. But I think the little like button is somewhere on this rail too. But yeah, thanks. Hit that like button. It really does help. Phoebes, it's getting serious. Is it getting serious? In what way? What things are getting serious and how are they getting serious? I don't detect a whole lot of seriousness in the world personally. I detect a whole lot of bullshit, but maybe you see some seriousness somewhere and maybe you can enlighten me about it. How's the job search going? Actually, the dynamic in my house, because my partner really misses working. They really miss that sense of camaraderie, and they really like having a job. I personally have always way more appreciated the ability to stay home, work on things around the house, keep things clean, keep things maintained out here, help like in the garden. Obviously, I, mostly take care of the stock by myself. So my partner may be the one between us that ends up going to work, actually, which means that probably gonna have to change up how I do these things, honestly, because that probably means I'll probably have to start doing more streams inside, probably. And I'll probably have to, well, of course, no, I don't really have to do them inside. I just don't want to have our baby on camera, for obvious reasons. So I think what I'll probably end up doing is probably spending a lot of time with him in his stroller, which will be really cool and really fun. We already do that quite a bit now that it's nice and usually pretty nice outside, so we'll see. If they decide, if she decides she doesn't like it and she doesn't want to be away from him yet, if it's really hard on her mental health, then I will probably renew my job search and end up finding something to make up that income deficit. But as of right now, it looks like things might be kind of flipping the other way around, which I'm perfectly fine with, because like I said, I'm way happier surrounded by my animals and nature and the trees and things that I feel like I have like some kind of tangible effect on, Duh, chat looked like something to participate in. I just showed up. Yeah, exactly. Be something worthy of engaging with. Hi, hello, welcome. Hit that like button. Do yourself a favor and hit that like button, because every time you do that, it increases the chance of this stream being shown to other people in the algorithm, which increases the chance of the stream becoming more interesting by virtue of more people joining the chat and more people finding the channel. We've got a pair of rabbits. We've got a couple guinea pigs. Some goats. Yeah. Also, it's serious because your voice is now a sample for a beat. Ooh, that's kind of neat. I don't know if it'll make a good sample, but you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. I remember you had me say something the other day that you could use. So if you ended up using that, hopefully you just, hopefully you got a good recording of it. Hopefully you got like a good take, because I know sometimes my audio can sound a little fucked up and weird, depending on where I'm at. Excuse me. I made pulled pork for dinner last night, but I think I fucked up somewhere, because it was not nice and tender and juicy the way it was last time I made it. The last two times I made it, actually. The last two times I've made pulled pork, it was like fucking so tender, like crazy tender. And this time, for whatever reason, it was not tender. It was tender, but it wasn't like, you could tear it apart with a fork and everything, and there weren't any big gristle patches. It was just as tender as it could have been. It wasn't as juicy as it was last time. Now I'm questioning everything. Now I don't know what I did wrong. I didn't, as near as I can tell, the only thing I did different was cooking it longer than I usually do, but it wasn't reaching the right temperature internal, so I didn't want to pull it off, because it was food safe in there. Don't get me wrong. It had gotten up to 165, but everything I've read says you should let a Boston butt get to at least 190 before you pull it off, because some of the collagen and the ligaments and shit in there need a higher temperature to break down, and they need to be kept at that higher temperature for longer periods of time to break that down. And so I wanted to let it, really get that chance, and I basted the whole time. So, I just think, like, what the fuck could I have possibly done wrong that made the process fuck up, I didn't use that one. I found it. Oh, I couldn't find it. Oh, okay. Well, that sucks. And I sadly don't have that good a memory of the streams that I do, so I don't honestly remember off the top of my head. There's a rooster loose. You guys want to go on an adventure with me? There's a rooster loose. If we can corral this thing. Here's my plan, right? There's a rooster over there. I want to see if I can corral him into a specific area and lead him down a path, at which point I can herd him through the barn and get him back into the chicken pen. Or maybe, well, I'll get him back into the chicken pen for now, because I don't have any scissors on me. So, we'll just kind of let him, feel like he's taking it at his own pace. You see. Okay. As you see, he's proceeding down there, doing what we hope of him, doing exactly what we want him to. I'm just going to have to trudge through this mud, and I'm not looking forward to it, but you know what? There's just, no better option. Okay, now you need to go in there. No. Damn it. He went the other way. For some reason, he does not want to go back into the barnyard. The actual, floor in there. Weird. I wonder what kind of vine that is. I don't know, but I'm going to pull it down before it becomes more of a problem. Happy Pride Month. Yes, thank you. Well, fuck. Fuck you, chicken. Yeah, you know what? I wonder, though. I wonder if I can lure him in. If I say I open this, right? Okay. So I'm going to try and lure him in here. This was not this empty last time I got in here. Oh, look at that. Look at that, dude. That was so easy. That was so simple. Like candy to a baby, bro. So now you're trapped in here with me. Or am I in here with you? That's really the operative question. My hands are deft. I can just catch him with the wings and then we'll be fine. Toss him back in there. I get the impression that this is going to take a second, so. Human reaction time is not great. It makes trying to round up a chicken kind of hard. Maybe if I use this stick, just get him to stay over here. See, because the problem problem we're having. You know what, though? I opened this door. Just get back over there. This will get it back into its own pen. There you go. We have other places to go. Here we go. I did it. I didn't get into the pen. Cock chasing? Yeah, dude. I was cock chasing, though. That is true. And I was successful in the cock chase. I found some cock. One in particular. Okay. Well, that was a merry chase. Are you a man or a girl? A girl. And I think the dichotomy there is supposed to be man or woman, boy or girl. In English, those terms are not merely gender indicating, they are age indicating. They're often thought of as merely gender indicating, but they are in fact age indicating as well. Although they are becoming less so with time, interestingly enough. Like, girl is more often seen as age neutral than boy is, but boy remains pretty firmly understood as derogatory when applied to adults. You started getting respiratory problems from vaping? Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but people get respiratory problems from smoking too. And sometimes people get respiratory problems from the you know, the fuck, I can't think of the word. You know what? I meant to give them some hay while I was down there. I'm gonna go back down there and do that real quick. Hey there, glad to see you're doing well. Much love. Well, yes, I'm doing okay enough. Ow. Whoa, whoa! I fucking hate how much goddamn mud there is down here. Just perpetually, too. There's literally nothing we've ever been able to do to fix it. Okay. Now that they're satisfied, nice setup. It's not nearly as nice as it looks. My dad's just a skilled carpenter. That's all. I mean, I don't know if he was ever a carpenter by trade, but he can build shit. And that barn is perhaps, I don't know. It's sad to me. My dad looks on that barn with kind of a more or less scornful attitude, I think, but ultimately it's because of things that are outside of his control. I actually think it's his masterwork. And the fact that he was able to restore a barn that had been there for 50 years already, it was built in a bad spot, and the fact that it's able to be useful for anything to this day is kind of fucking magical to me. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool barn for sure. There's modifications that need to be made though. Modifications for sure. Like there's a seep that has been there's a seep that was located right next to that barn when it was built, and when it was just erected as a pole barn. And now that it's been there for a long time, erosion and the trampling of animals and things like that have stirred up the seep to the point where now I'm convinced that most of the like we live in a swampy area anyway, and I'm convinced that most of the water extrusion that happens right there in that seep, and part of it is in one of the chicken coops. Literally, just sits there like a giant pool of fucking, like a giant pool of water, just in the chicken coop. Does it flood in your area? Not exactly. I mean, it can. We live sort of nearby well, I guess really nearby, honestly, to a creek that can flood, but we're not in one of its floodplains. It's, it's one of these creeks in the south that has seasonal rises where it'll get way above the flood bank, and then it kind of, so it has like two channels basically. It has the main channel that it normally runs through, and then the flood bank or the floodplain, which is usually a lot higher and way wider. And we're not in either of those, obviously. Well, obviously we're not. We're not in the main channel. We would be underwater right now. But we're also not in the floodplain, so we don't get like the flooding from the rivers and things like that. That's not really a danger. What happens for us is if rainfall north of us, or rainfall anywhere that contributes to the water level in the creeks that run through here. If that happens, we also experience a commensurate rise in the water levels around here and the water table. And it's an area that gets quite a bit of rain every year, and the land is pretty marshy. Water table's pretty high. It's just a marshy, swampy kind of fucking terrain, you know? Hallo. Ich bin gut. Kannst du höchst die Vögel? Bist du ein Student? Nein. No, I don't speak that much German, but I can pick up little bits here and there. And I can usually come up with some kind of response sentence if I understand what's been said. You hate Pride Month? Can I ask why? As a trans woman, these sorts of conversations are incredibly interesting to me. Sometimes they can get boring, but they usually start off interesting, so let's begin it by asking why. Because to me, it seems like a pretty innocuous thing. If you're not a queer person, you're not a queer ally, you can just ignore it. You know what I mean? Like, especially this year, there's less pride displays this year than in any of the, like, in the last 10 years. Honestly, I haven't seen this little pride shit this far into Pride Month. Normally, 5 days into Pride Month, I'd already be seeing like some videos from some other creators about the history of Pride Month and stuff like that. I would have seen some flags I would have expected by now. This year, no flags, no corporate logo trade-overs, which I'm actually glad for that, because it's high time that queer lefties learn that corporations aren't your friends. It's super high time that queer lefties learn that corporations aren't your friends. I feel like there is such a resistance to certain members within the left and within, especially like the center left. I feel like there is such a resistance to the idea that corporations ultimately are the enemy. They are the problem. They are the fucked up thing. They are the nightmare that needs to be woken up from. They are the power system that needs to be abolished. They are the hierarchy that needs to be upturned, right? But so many fucking center left, especially queer lefties, especially queer center left lefties, end up having this weird sort of stance where they're like, yeah, I mean, corporations are bad, but at the same time, I mean, like, Target's like a really good place to shop, and Starbucks, I mean, they just have really good, like, their coffee's not that good, but the smoothies are really good, you know, and it's ultimately all anti-proletarian sentiment. Completely anti-proletarian, completely pro-bourgeoisie, pro-corporate sentiment, but nobody sees it as that, because corporations have pretty much succeeded in making the American people view brands as people, view brands with personal association. Thanks, Freudian psychologists. Turns out Freud's theories weren't that useful in understanding the human mind from an empathetic standpoint and getting to positive conclusions in a clinical setting, but they were fucking like death. They were stunningly useful in application of marketing. Tripical, what's up, Tripical? CWA coins, more power to you. That's the great thing about the USA. We can all have our own opinions together here. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about this country, right? And it's one of the things I defend most about the American way of doing things, kind of like American culture in general, is that American culture is nothing if not a screaming bastion of self-expression. Everybody is invited to be themselves here. Everybody is invited to express themselves here. And I think that there are some people definitely fighting against that now, but there always have been. And that's, again, one of the beautiful things about America is that those people fight. Sometimes they gain a little ground, but usually they don't. And in the long run of history, the people that are pro-freedom always end up winning out. The people who are pro-personal expression, pro-personal autonomy, the people with, like, people whose ideas I align more with, like, you know, good, bad, right, or wrong, we seem to be heading the same way as the historical trend of the country, if that makes sense. Be yourself. A man, nothing wrong with that. I'm not a man, though. I am literally not a man. I feel grossed the fuck out wearing men's clothes. I feel like a fish in a walker, or a dog in an endless sea with no islands, a horse with no pasture. Do you understand what that feels like? Have you ever gone through anything in your life that made you feel alien? Leben Sie in Amerikaner? Ja, ich bin ein Amerikaner. Du bist eine Deutschlander? You need to treat your gender dysphoria. That you realize that the treatment for gender dysphoria laid out in the DSM, as in the Diagnostician Statistical Manual or whatever it's called, but the book that lays out all of the fucking mental health disorders. The treatment for gender dysphoria that's recommended in that is gender transition. Dude, I love these motherfuckers who don't know fuck all about human psychology, who haven't learned the first fucking thing about how it works or how any of the mental processes that underlie their own brain work, and then want to come around other people talking all this fucking high and mighty bullshit that's based on a complete misunderstanding of a process they've never learned anything meaningful about. There's no way that the German people have become this bullcrap. Well, to be fair, I'm only 18% German. The vast majority of my ancestry, 78% of my ancestry, comes from Britain and Ireland, baby. Mostly Scotland, Ireland, and England, in that order. But if you've got Scottish or English ancestry, you cannot help but also have English ancestry, so... Or did I say Scottish or Irish? Because that's what I meant. If you have Scottish or Irish ancestry, you have some English ancestry somewhere along the lines. Because of the, endless intermarrying and, interwarring between those three different regions. I'm Scottish, don't disrespect my country. I'm not trying to disrespect you guys by saying anybody that's got Scottish ancestry also has English ancestry. I'm just pointing out the fact that due to the constant, England has invaded Scotland and Ireland each, dozens of times. And it's been policy on and off in those countries to, think about it. As far as, the royalty and nobility go, it's been policy for centuries now to maintain, this weird marriage policy between the royals and shit that ensures that people from different countries are always sharing ancestry and shit. Hi, buddy. You okay? Oh. No, but what's up? What's up, buddy?
Just want to get stuff ready. I want to get his bag ready, and I want to get the infant car seat out of the car. Or the infant insert.
What time is your interview?
It's not an interview.
I know, but your thing.
After his appointment.
What time is his appointment? That's what I should have asked. 1:30?
Yeah.
Hi, baby. I see you looking at me. Why are you so shy? Every time I notice you, like, nah, that's not what I'm doing.
What?
If I ended by 11, would that give you enough time to get things ready, do you think?
Yeah.
You need to take them for a while right now. Well, that's the thing. I can just turn the camera around and sit here and talk to the people. Buddy.
They're coming. think your mom's mad at me or something.
What makes you say that?
She doesn't seem to like me anymore, especially ever since I.
This is gonna be fun. Okay, I've got you guys flipped around, and I know it's not much of a view, but you'll have to forgive me because I don't show my baby on cam for obvious reasons. But me and him are hanging out, and I'm gonna keep reading you guys' chats and continuing the conversation. So I bet you he participates in women's sports. Well, number one, I'm not a he, and number two, I'm fat. So maybe I participate in women's sumo. Do you think, Milo? Do you think I would be good at women's sumo? Would that be good? Am I good at that? Yeah, maybe I'm in. Yeah, dude, I'm the women's sumo world champion, bro. I just won the other day. It was beautiful. I defeated the fattest cis woman on the planet and won the gold medal in Kawasaki, Japan. Happy Pride. Happy Pride. Thank you. It is a happy Pride. By the way, there's 133 people in here. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button is another chance for the stream to reach even more people and be even more interesting by virtue of its continued, uh, further participation in the stream chat. So, yeah. So, always hit me with that like if you feel like I deserve it. Which I feel like I do, because I feel like we run a pretty entertaining show here. People love to hate on me, if nothing else. And that is, that is publicity in its own. That is publicity in its own way. Why are you calling her a he? She's a woman, and you need to respect that. Yeah, dude, good luck convincing, random anonymous bigots on the internet to be respectful of other people, though. You have to understand how many people just, exercise their demons online, you know? The internet is the place they go to talk shit about other people, basically. And that's okay. Really, the magic of it is learning to monetize it. Learning how to be disagreeable, but not get, bloodthirstily angry, you know? You have to learn how to be something with which people are going to be vitriolic, and learn how to argue with those people in a way that makes you seem more intelligent than them and more interesting than them, at the very least. And you don't even have to be agreed with by people. You just have to get the people who respect the fact that you disagree openly with, for example, I had a dude donate $100 in Super Chat the other day. It was like, I disagree with most of the things you say, but you're a pretty interesting streamer, and that's why I hang out in here. And it was wonderful to hear that, because that's exactly the type of attitude I try to foster around here. The idea should be that you can come in here and listen to me hate on the trolls, and then ask your own questions, kind of playing devil's advocate, but playing it way better than the trolls do, and then we can have an argument, and then we can reconcile, and it's beautiful. The vibe we have here is fucking supreme, and I defend it like it is, I don't know, like it's an airdrop from heaven. Here in a minute, I might actually move our base of operations over to the other side of the yard. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. We're going to move over to the other side of the yard, because I think that some weed eating is being done over this way. And I get the feeling that that's going to be the trend of where it goes, so. Now we move. Hi, Mom. O and K. Alrighty. Sorry about that, y'all. Let's see. What was the way I did this last time? I think it was like this, and then like that, maybe? No? Couldn't have been. Whatever, it's not going to make it that much better anyway. Would be nice if I could stand it up a little though, but I don't think I'll be able to. Anyway. It's the same thing, you like men and women equals bisexual. I've always felt the same way. I grew up using the term bisexual. I grew up hearing the term bisexual used to refer to people with my sexuality, which is, I don't care whether you have a penis or vagina, you know? Like, I don't really care. I guess I do have, like, a more of a preference for people with vaginas, but not so much of one that it would make me, like, alter my dating preferences or something like that. Besides, I am, at this point in my life, I'm poly, and, like, I don't know, it has opened up, like, a whole new world of opportunities for me, because it's like, as long as I stay in a poly relationship, if I'm with somebody that has a genital configuration that is not, like, the most pleasing or whatever all the time, then I can find somebody with which I can satisfy that need, you know? Right, but why is it your business if someone wants to go by a woman even if they have man parts. They're not changing that. It's not your body. Why do you care? They care because I represent a violation of constraints that they have strained against their entire life. Every single person in a highly gendered society, every single person in that society has brushed up at some point the impacts and meaning of gender roles and their negative consequences. And so, as a result of that, people who have never interacted with a trans person or who were raised in particularly restrictive households and things like that find someone like a trans person, and they are not repulsed by us in the way that they claim. They are actually alarmed by our presence and angered by our existence because we are.
What was that about? Were you just adding to the conversation?
Me and him are sitting back here rocking, but he got real excited for a minute. Anyway, we as trans people represent a living example of how you can be different and have like a different gender identity, and it doesn't make you any less of a valid person or anything like that. But they have railed against those constraints their whole life. They've come up against that wall so many times in their life that seeing someone who just walked through it pisses them off. It's like, how the fuck did you do that? Why the fuck did you do that? And ultimately, what it comes down to, for every single trans person, the answer to that question is sacrifice, and nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to, few people want to engage in that sort of thing, and I understand why. It's a difficult process. But you can't blame trans people for what is ultimately, if it's been your choice not to make the sacrifices you need to be able to live the most authentic you that you can be, well, it's not on trans people to bring you to that place or to be different for your sake.
What's up there, dude? What's up there, man?
I might have to leave you guys out here for a minute, or maybe mute and take you inside. I don't really know. But he's kind of acting like he might be getting agitated for a reason, you know? Like maybe, I don't know. Let me check his head.
Let me see you. Let me see you. Dude, that was a bird. No. Your diaper is clean. So it's not that. Are you still hungry?
He did just burp, so I'll try to get another burp out of him. Maybe that'll help. Ow! Your nails are getting sharp. But you're a baby, so it's hard to cut them. But at this point, we do kind of have to cut them. Hey, let me see. Are they long enough that we can cut them without hurting your poor little nail beds? You gotta unclench your fist. Yeah, I would say those are long enough. I know. I had to take your nails. Oh. That was a duck noise you just made. That was just a duck-like noise. Well, that was a mercifully short train. Mercifully because it was quite slow. So if it had been much longer, that would have been so annoying. Wouldn't it have been? Wouldn't that have been bad? Here, I'm gonna pick it up and read some of these chats. Why are people so stupid? Like, bro, when you didn't have any info about changing yourself, you never even thought about it. Yeah, that's where you're wrong. I've known that I was, I would have said that I was a girl when I was, first realizing these things, but I've known I'm a woman since I was like 5 years old. I didn't have the words to describe transitioning before I was probably, I'd say 17 or so, maybe 16. But I was aware that something wasn't right long before I had the words to describe how wrong everything was. With what was expected of me, with where I fit in, with the people that I found comfort in and camaraderie with the people whose struggles I related to. I'm sure there's and honestly, I'm sure there's like a confluence of factors that contributes to me or any other person being trans, but it just seems so strange to me to discount the entire experience as being like bogus or something. Hey user, do you think saying that makes it true? Do you think your stupid ass saying it online makes it true? Like I said earlier, people like you are offended by people like me because we exist outside of chains that you have decided to lock yourself in. You are unwilling to forego your chains. That is not my problem. Wait, you think I'm 18? Bro, you think I'm fucking 18? Can someone that's been in this chat before inform user as to how old my dumbass is? Please. Would someone mind? I love how user thinks they know everything about me because they've watched 5 minutes of a YouTube stream. Whoa. Wasn't that big? Wasn't that huge? That sounded so big, didn't it? Didn't it sound so big? It was big. You don't know enough about gender to know that you shouldn't lie and spread disinformation on the internet in the presence of someone who can ban you out of their chat. Oh. If you think you know more than me on the subject of gender, then, well, I don't know, argue with God, because you're defying Johns Hopkins, not me. You're defying the American Medical Association, not me. You're defying the fucking, the fucking American Pediatricians Clinic or whatever it's called. I don't remember what their group is. But there's like a million different associations of doctors that all fucking agree that transition is the correct treatment for a person with gender dysphoria. And to argue that fact is, effectively, in my opinion, no different than arguing with God. Okay, let's figure out what's going on. I think so. I will be right back. Does my phone have enough charge? Yeah, I can leave it here for now. I will be right back. Well, you know what? I guess I guess I'll be right back. But then again, I should probably take you guys with me. I don't know. I guess I'm going to mute and take you guys with me. Well, I'm the only one in here right now, so I guess I can talk. I guess I can unmute you guys for now.
Okay. So what's up? Part of me thinks you just wanted to be inside. So let's see if just sitting down inside makes it any better.
Did you end your stream, Emily?
No, I'm still streaming. I had it muted, but then I had it unmuted because we were the only ones in the house, and then I was like, oh, I could just mute it if Silas comes back out.
No, you can't keep it unmuted.
But yeah, he was getting a little fussy, but his diaper looked clean.
He's probably hungry.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I get you, Pancho.
You done?
I have to wash his our bag that we carry with our diaper bag. It's got surface mold on it. It was in the closet.
Weird. That is real weird. Surface mold. I mean, I guess, huh. That's real weird. I feel like that room stays humid. Yeah, sure.
Your mom doesn't want it anymore.
Were you little unsweet for me?
Were you talking to everybody?
He was being the best little sidekick that I could ask for.
I'm sorry if I ruined your stream.
You didn't. We're right now, I think the reason the viewers have cascaded is just because we haven't really been on a firm topic for a while. Things have been a little crazy. No, it's not your fault. It's, there's weed eating going on, so I was like trying to move around that, and then there was the train, so I had to get sat down real quick and hold his ears, and the train went by real slow, so it's just hard to kind of so it's like hard to make yourself think when there's a bunch of noise going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, will you be okay with me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop around 11. It's 10:30 now.
Is that okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'll give us plenty of time.
It'll only take like 2 seconds to take that liner off and stuff.
Alright, because we can still use that car seat. We don't need the infant insert anymore. He's not in the view, is he?
No, and I switched it to selfie cam.
Hi, Milo.
You want to? Here, you can't. I don't want them to see your face, but I want you to wave to everybody. Say, bye.
Yeah.
Wave to everybody.
Say, bye, Chad. Yeah, we can do that.
Because we're not gonna be that weird YouTube family.
No, dude, that's what I was gonna say earlier. I don't ever want to be accused of being one of those weird YouTube people that like makes their family like an object of their content. Like I want to do a channel with my parents, but that's different. That's different from involving my my baby in my content, and then continuing to involve them throughout their lives without ever really consulting them. Now, I guess if my son comes up to me when he's like, let's say I'm still doing content, let's say, fingers crossed that I'm doing it for a living someday, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, Mom, I want to do some content with you." I'll be like, "Okay, cool. Let's do some content. Like, let's make some vids." I don't know what he'd want to do, but I don't really know what his hobbies are going to be, You don't really know that sort of thing about a kid at fucking 5 months old.
He's not even 5 months old yet.
I know, I'm rounding up.
Well, stop rounding up.
Why?
Good.
Isn't it? It's close, isn't it? No, I guess not. This is only June the 5th.
He's got about... What? You want to eat?
Okay, mates. So, let's find somewhere else to stream, shall we? Okay. There's still weed eating going on, but, I think if we just go back to our original spot, we'll be okay. Oh, be Katie. Man, bigots are some of the loudest idiots on the planet, are they not? Look at how beautiful this is. And then tell me I need to be bothered for 1 second about the shit dumbasses say online. Y'all ever thought about how true the song All Kinds of Kinds by Miranda Lambert is? Ever since the beginning, keep the world spinning, it takes all kinds of kinds. The hateful people define the loving people. The loving people define the hateful people. And really, at the end of the day, we're all just searching for some semblance of meaning in a meaningless universe that we all, I think, deep down perceive to be meaningless. I think even those of us who profess things like Christianity ultimately know that it's You know, it's all those hand gestures. No, it's meaningless pursuit because what underlies it is a completely unprovable phenomenon, you know? But it really does. It takes all kinds of kinds. You need every kind of human being to have functional human beings. You know, this place is not perfect, but this place is beautiful. I don't want to make it better. Not just like the homestead, I just mean like Mississippi in general, honestly. You know, I wonder how possible it would be for me to bring you guys with me while I do some stuff out there. You know, I bet now that I have a pop socket, it would be entirely possible. Ooh, that's not even a bad idea, actually. Why do you feel the need to dress like that? Because this is the type of clothing that I feel more comfortable in. Well, like women's clothing, quote unquote, broadly, but because I don't think clothing necessarily needs to be gendered. That's why I say it like that. But anyway, women's clothing in general. But honestly, I like a crop top every so often. I think they're cute. Especially this one because it's got the sleeves and stuff, you know. I used to have a really, really, really cute outfit with this, which was like these long. They were like faux denim. They weren't exactly denim. They were like softer and flowier, but they had that kind of color pattern, and they had pockets, which was also nice. But yeah, it was like my festival get up there for a while. Is this exact crop top because of these sleeves? Because honestly, it is so useful. Like you would think, oh, you don't want to have sleeves in like a super sunny environment where it's gonna get hot. You're gonna be out in the sun, but no. Actually, if you've got sleeves like this, these sleeves are very, 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 very comfortable to wear in the summer and in the sun because they're kind of flowy. The air can get through them pretty easily, but the sun is blocked for the most part by the sleeves. So it's a way to not get so bad sunburned if it's a really sunny, super hot day. Or if you're just like a dumbass like me and you forget to wear sunscreen usually. Pretty easy for me to forget that kind of thing, so I tend to wear something with a little bit of sleeve to it if I plan on being outside for super long stretches of time, if I can. I don't always. Sometimes it's just like too hot and I take the risk because it's like, you know, I would rather be cool and I don't have, like, honestly, a lot of times that's just because I don't have anything that has the kind of sleeves that are good for hot weather, because you don't want like thick, pillowy sleeves. You want like thin, lacy, or silky, kind of soft, arable, you know? Not arable. What's the word for things that air can get through? I don't remember. Man, chat has died. Do you guys really not want to talk about the travel ban at all? See, it's so weird to me that I think the title oftentimes ends up attracting quite a few people, but it seems like a lot of times like they're not really interested in discussing what's in the title. Except recently I've been doing a lot of, obviously because it's Pride Month, I've been including Pride Month in a lot of my titles, and I think that's attracted a lot of people that just want to argue about Pride Month and just want to argue, which is great. Like, I like the engagement, but it's just like nothing else in the title, really? Nothing else interests you guys? I mean, it's a chat-based stream, so I don't want to just like force the topic, you know, but to me, it's weird, and I would love to talk to someone about it that has an interest in politics, but all anybody wants to talk about recently is, Pride Month, because that's in the title too. But it's like, there's two things in there. Come on now. Oh, well, you guys only have 20 more minutes with me anyway. And so far, I'm not impressed by chat's actions. Come on, chat. Dazzle me with something brilliant. Dazzle me with something interesting. Hit that like button. Engage with the stream. Don't make me force the topic. Here's another topic. Here's another thing we can talk about. Who's ready to go to war? And where's the next war gonna be? It looks like things might be wrapping up more or less in the Middle East. It seems like tensions get a little bit lower there, with time. But it also seems like maybe, based on some of these travel bans, maybe things are expected to ramp back up in the next few months. It just makes me wonder. It makes one wonder quite a bit what is going to go down in that exchange. I also thought it was very interesting the other day. I read an article that said something about how Russia and Ukraine were in the midst of active peace negotiations while their armies were engaging in attacks on one another. So it's just very strange to me to think of that going on, because I guess I always figured that the decisions that were made on the battlefield kind of descended down from on high and filtered down. But it occurs to me that there's probably quite a bit of leeway given in how those things are executed and how exactly they're done. But only time will tell what's going to happen with that. My theory is that aggression is going to continue between Russia and Ukraine until Russia takes the territory back, basically. I think America's going to let it go that far. I don't think it's, honestly, I'm just going to say this. I don't think it's right that America lets it go that far. I don't think we necessarily have to have Ukraine as an ally, but I think that a world united is a good thing, and I think a lot of the world is aligned with America. Way more of the world is aligned with America than is aligned with Russia. And way more of the world's global powerhouses, too. Like, when we're talking big superpowers that can manufacture lots of stuff and do lots of things, most of those countries are allied in some way with the United States. And like I said, I think a united world is a peaceful world. And I think that if we could get to a place where, I think a better outcome for this whole engagement, this whole Russian-Ukraine conflict, I think the best outcome for it would be some kind of peaceful negotiation between Russia and Ukraine that allows Russia to make use of the Crimean Peninsula without having to go over the bridge, without having to maintain that bridge, because, that's probably the only reason it exists, is because they have this territory that they can't really get to. And, I think as part of that, Ukraine should be expedited into NATO so that the conflict just ends. Yeah, Russia, we will grant you this amount of land, but you have to let Ukraine join NATO. You have to stop these hostilities. Sorry, my mom was walking by. You guys have to stop these hostilities. No more of this. This can't be done. And I think that would be a pretty fucking sweet outcome for the conflict. Sadly, I kind of feel like Putin's just not interested in that. I'm not a super pro-Ukraine war person, but I do kind of think the pro-Ukraine kind of war type of war hawk people right now, they're talking all this mad shit about how America needs to escalate its engagement in this conflict. I think they kind of have a point when they say that Putin's not interested in a land deal, because some land deals, some land use deals and shit like that have been offered to Putin and the Russian government broadly before, and they have yet to take them. They have yet to engage in any of those deals. They have yet to follow through with them. So I do think they might have a point when they say that Putin's just not interested in the type of diplomacy that involves, that he does actually want to take over the whole country. And it just sucks that that's the kind of situation you're facing. Because like I said, on the one hand, I really don't like the idea of just supporting war. That's, not my idea of a good time. But on the other hand, is it a better world? Oh God, I feel like Henry Kissinger saying this shit. Is it a better world if Ukraine is owned and operated by the United States, or if Ukraine is owned and operated by Russia? Well, the United States civil rights record is a little better than Russia's. That's not that much better, but we never had gulags, And we did have incarceration camps at one point, but they weren't. They weren't killing people in the order of millions, Our country never had gulags, and our country doesn't have the type of human rights abuses that Russia is currently so well known for in so many places. So I think if you look at it just side by side, which is it better for Ukraine to be owned and operated by? Well, obviously Ukraine would be the best answer, right? That'd be the answer that falls under the self-determination route. But clearly Russia's not going to allow that, and the United States would probably allow it if they would be an ally, but as long as Russia's buttoned up against it, I think we might just have to take that bitch over. And when I say take that bitch over, I mean take them over in the same way that we've basically taken over Germany. Germany is filled to the brim with United States bases. Some of them are going away now, but for fucking decades, Germany was basically owned and operated by the United States. It was like a little colony of ours, basically, in Europe. And I think that Ukraine is probably going to have to be that way, too, for a while, to fully de-Sovietize it, I guess, because it seems like there is quite a bit of, and maybe the answer is not to de-Sovietize it. Maybe the answer really is to figure out to do a referendum in Ukraine and have it be United Nations enforced, figure out what areas of Ukraine want to be Ukrainian, and allow there to be a secessionist vote. Is there anybody in the country in any of these districts that wants to be Russian, not Ukrainian? If they do, as long as they're not as long as it doesn't create an exclave or some shit, let them join the fucking Russian Federation. Go on with you. Because I think right now that there is probably a significant group of people that fall under that banner. There's probably a sizable majority of them in the areas closest to the Crimean Peninsula and southwest Russia. And I think that those counties, probably not counties, I'm sure that they're not organized that way over there. I'm just saying, I'm sure that those districts are probably a source of quite a bit of internal turmoil and internal division within Ukraine. And it could probably be a stronger country if those places were allowed to return to the Russian Federation or whatever. I don't know, though. I'm just a fucking dork on the internet. I am not some policy expert. As much as I may sound like Henry Kissinger right now with some of the things I'm saying, I you know, I don't have nearly the same amount of power or influence. Political advice from this guy. Well, I'm not a guy, so there's that. What podcast is helping not rot your brain? Is Hassan doing this? Hassan? No. No, I do come up with some of my own thoughts occasionally, although I do watch a podcast called Deep Fat Fried. And you might have heard of a couple of its hosts. One of them is Into the Fray, aka The Amazing Atheist, and the other is Paul Zigo, aka Paul Zigo, of Drunken Peasants fame originally. So TJ Kirk made you like this. Feels weird calling them TJ these days, but yeah, I guess. No. I think if anyone's to blame for who I am, it'd have to be my parents, right? Like, that's who influences your development more than anybody else. Like, that is more responsible for how you come out as a human being in your adulthood than any other figure. Like, if you had even one parent in your life, they will be more influential in your life than anything else, because everything you do will be a reaction to something they did. Every single thing you do, because that's your basis of fucking reaction. That's your basis of thought. That's who you base your countenance off of. That's who you base your mannerisms off of, etc. Like, I mean, if you listen to me, I don't talk all that much like TJ. In fact, I don't think I talk a lot like him at all, honestly. I think he's way more articulate than I am. I think they're way more capable with the English language than I am, but I must have a pretty listenable cadence regardless, because 2,500 subs and growing, baby. TJ's a lot like yourself and never had a career. She has made a shit ton of money on YouTube for a dude who never had a career. Get the fuck out of here, bitch. TJ has been doing YouTube probably longer than you've been alive, kid. If you're anything like most of the dumbasses that come up in here, you're probably 12 or 13, so get the fuck on up out of here, number one, because you're too little. Number two, recognize your fucking betters. Recognize your fucking betters. It does you no favors to pretend like someone who's doing better than you are is doing way worse, and like they're nothing. Because I got fucking news for you, bro. Everyone on the podcast I was just talking about, I wouldn't say they live some like amazing rich person life, but they all make a good living doing what they're doing. It's like a middle class job for them, which is a fucking career. They can go places with that you'll never go unless you apply yourself in that way for years and years, and through years and years of deliberate practice. So don't fucking at me, whore. Midnight Ghoul, what's up, dude? What is up? Dumbfuck wishes he had TJ's career. I know. That's exactly what it strikes me as, too. A dumbass motherfucker wishes they were TJ so badly. Wishes they had a single ounce of phrase ability with words. Wishes they had a single ounce of phrase charisma, or phrase just joie de vivre, Wishes they had an ounce of any of that. Wishes they could find in themselves the charm to win over a single human being's ear. But they don't. They'll never find that. Well, they might, honestly. Some people do end up recovering from that. I'm one of them. I wasn't always this charming and charismatic. No, I'm not saying I'm the best, most presentable person ever. I'm just saying that I've got way more ability with an audience and with a crowd, especially, than I did, even 5 years ago. Just like busking so long between 2020 and 2023, like most of my income I made during those 3 years was from busking. And that really fucking familiarized me with crowd psychology and performing in public and things like that. And then doing this for the last year or so has improved that and honed that even more. And, you can recover from that, is my point. You can get It takes some kind of entry point, but you can recover from that. Most people never do, though. Most people never find that outlet that allows them to be themselves and feel themselves and really get out there and do it. And they live their entire lives in the obscurity of unfulfilling lies that they tell about themselves and the people around them. Hey, I'm new here. Well, what's up? I'm a cross-dresser from coastal Alabama. I wish I could be outside like you. Humidity is suffocating here. Nice. I'm a trans person from Mississippi. Not coastal Mississippi, thank God. Northern Mississippi. But yeah, not nearly so humid here. But yes, the Gulf Coast is fucking excruciatingly humid. Anybody in chat, if you've never been to the Gulf Coast, dude, you are fucking so lucky. You are so lucky. I don't care how humid you think it is where you live. It is not Gulf Coast humid. I don't know what the fuck it is about down there either. Because I've been to plenty of beaches in my time, and a goddamn beach I've ever been to as humid as Biloxi Beach or Pascagoula Beach or even Pensacola Beach. I mean, honestly, Pensacola Beach ain't bad if you're right up on the water. But the minute you get away from the water and off the beach, you are fucking in humidity city doo-wah-diddy. It is fucking insane and absurd how much humidity just sits and exists on the Gulf Coast and never goes anywhere and just radiates endlessly. But yeah, you know what the sad thing about that person earlier was, by the way, honestly, Midnight Ghoul? I wish I had TJ's career too, which is why I'm streaming so often. That's why I'm trying to start committing to my streaming schedule, because I thought of one, but I need to talk to the people in my family about it so I can start setting things up and, reminding myself and everything, doing things around the right time scales and everything. But, like, I wish I had that too. Like, I would love nothing more than to be able to own my own business and maybe be able to spin that into having a food truck, which is like ultimately what I really want to do. I would love to be able to do that, which is why I've been streaming repeatedly and regularly and everything for the last 8 months or so, because eventually I want to be able to do something like that as a living, because I think I can make way more money off my personality than I have ever been able to with my just repetitive motion or basic brain work. I where are you off to now? Not that it's my business, I'm just nosy.
Yeah, I'm just going to, I'm going to go buy guns and get those patches.
Oh yeah, yeah.
County side to take Wendy or coffee.
Nice. Nice. Aw, Smidge is coming with you. Smidge is coming with you. That's cool. Have fun. Have fun. Happy adventure time. Excuse me. At least I got a good tan already. Oh, geez. I can't relate, honestly. I'm still looking pretty pale. I got a decent tan the other day, but it's mostly already disappeared. But, I want to start being outside more. I miss it. Yep, I'm just a couple hours off the coast. Humid as fuck, yeah. I mean, even here, it's pretty humid, but it's like, it's not nearly as humid right now as it normally is. It's, like right now, it's, I would say, 70% maybe? 65% probably? I don't know if I told you, but Andrew sent one of his friends to message me about that stuff that happened literally 2 or 3 months ago. What the fuck? Yeah, I don't get that. I haven't even thought about that in like 2 months. There's just been too much going on in my life. I have not thought about it. Honestly, Gemma, the most expedient thing you could do might just end up being to apologize, even if you don't necessarily mean it, just for the sake of, like, putting it past, Might not be a bad idea. Anyway, I said I was going to stop at 11, and it's 11 now. So I think I'm going to head out. So I will go ahead and get off of here. But remember to hit that subscribe button if you've enjoyed the chat so far, and the little notification bell so you get notifications about ones that happen in the future, and the like button because that helps even after the stream's posted. And if anybody wants to send a super chat in the next 15 seconds, I will read it. It'll probably be longer than 15 seconds because my dumbass draws everything out to an endlessly long degree. But let's see, what other shameless self-promotion do I have to do? Oh, memberships. I want us to get enough members, and the membership is super cheap, by the way, but I want us to get enough memberships to where we can afford, or not afford, but to where we can, maybe afford was the right word there, to where we are able, I guess is a better way to phrase it. I want us to be able to do members-only streams, where basically we're just dealing with people who've signed up for the membership. So if that's something you're interested in doing, please consider signing up for that, because the more people we get, the more likely we are to be able to do a program like that, where we can do members-only chats. And that's something I think would be super cool. So you guys have a great night. Here's to hoping that they're wrong about this year's hurricane season. Hell yeah. Here's to hoping they're wrong. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.